Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Good to see all of your smiling faces this evening, or if you're catching the replay. Dr. Stacy here. I am so excited to have a repeat guest on with me this evening. Had on here a couple times over our span in YouTube world here and sharing information with you guys. So, before I get into who my guest is, if you're new to Lifewave, just so you know, I am not a medical doctor. Dr. Stan is not a medical doctor. If you have questions in regards to your health, your medications, or what's going on with you, of course, as always, please check with your healthcare practitioner or your doctor, whoever is in charge of that. I'll tell you about Dr. Stan here in just a minute. I have a PhD in integrative medicine, a PhD in functional medicine, and both Dr. Stan and I function in the world of holistic health and healing modalities. He has been in much longer than I have in practice, and so we'll be able to share his vast knowledge of information with you. The information, again, of course, with LifeWave that we're sharing this evening is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose anything, as always. But we will be entertaining some questions towards the end. So if you have those questions, you can start dropping them in the chat. So let me get his bio here for you. You're going to be very impressed and excited to hear all of this information about Dr. Stan. So Dr. Stan is a trained minister who over the years has been inspired to serve you in your journey in life, along with the School of Hard Knocks. I love that one. Dr. Stan was trained in several Bible colleges and earned 2 Bible diplomas, a Bachelor of Theology, a Master's, and a PhD in counseling. Dr. Stan is also a certified human behavioral consultant and certified vitalist in natural healing, Hallelujah Acres health minister, and a certified life science practitioner. Dr. Stan has served as a pastor, church planter, Christian counselor, teacher, outreach leader, senior saint minister, did not know that one, youth director, musician, and deacon. Did not know that either. Stan, I'm learning new things about you. He has been a house parent, counselor, and program director for a Christian children's home and an adult handicap ministry. Dr. Stan now ministers as a law of attraction minister who assists people reach their fullest potential in life. It is only natural that people desire to live a vibrant and meaningful life fulfilled with love, joy, peace, contentment, success, health, wealth, beauty, and all goodness. Dr. Stan will assist you discover your true potential in life through education, motivation, inspiration, and edification. As a minister, Dr. Stan will encourage you to evolve, grow, and expand and awaken your true self, apart from codes, rules, regulations, or dogma of any religion. And as you awaken, you discover who you are, you will be tuned in and turned on to reach your full potential in life. Dr. Stan has been married to and assisted by his beautiful wife, Jody, since 1979. Jody is a musician and a teacher and presently assists people financially and physically in her own health and nutrition business. The Gravleys have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Dr. Stan offers individual and family counseling, is available for public speaking. He is a life science minister who offers workshops and educational materials to motivate, inspire, and help you through your messages and through his prophetic messages and insights. And Dr. Stan is also an author who has written 2 books called The Law of Attraction Bible and This Is It, the ultimate handbook for successful living, which addresses every area of life and a roadmap to finding happiness and success, which contains information about spiritual principles, mental health, family life issues, financial prosperity, social life, health, and nutritional guidelines, and a special chapter called What the Bleep? HE double hockey sticks. It will educate, inspire, and motivate you to live a successful life in every way. And you can get that at drstanphd.com. I'll put that in the chat for you all as well, too. So, Dr. Stan, you and I have known each other, oh gosh, about 15 years now, I would say. But I know all of your journey. So I want you to take us back and I want you to tell us how, you got into this and weave your story in and out through this. Take us up to speed where you discovered Lifewave, how that came into your life. And then we'll dive into some of those detoxification tips and tools and techniques along the way as well.
Well, thanks for having me on, Dr. Stacy. It's always an honor, a privilege to be here. Anytime we get to share to help people, that's what it's all about, serving and helping people, as you say, really become the very best version of themselves. This all started when I was indeed pastoring churches. When I first started going to church, Dr. Stacy, I kept reading the Bible and I kept seeing all this hope and messages of victory and overcoming and health, prosperity, goodness, love, joy, peace. And I wasn't seeing a lot of that in the church circles that I was in. It was kind of sad, I was seeing a lot of sickness and disease and poverty and just people that weren't living their very best life. And I just kept wondering, what is going on? Why are God's, people so sick? And so when I was pastoring my first church, I wasn't in the best of health. I had started a little bit on my health journey. A friend of mine had started teaching me how to do proper bodybuilding. We had read Fit for Life by the Diamonds, which is an interesting book. If you've never read it, it's a very practical book in a lot of ways. Implemented some of that into our lifestyle. Jody's dad had died of liver pancreatic cancer. So she kind of sparked our journey in the 80s when her dad died in his mid 50s. And so, we asked the same questions. Why do people get sick? Why did her dad, died at such an early age of liver pancreatic cancer? Is it, genetic? Is it lifestyle? Is it a little bit of everything? We were asking, and she was really asking a lot of those questions in the beginning. But I had gotten to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was pastoring a church, but I was 50 plus pounds overweight when we were doing this. I was out of shape. Wasn't, taking care of myself the best way, even though, I did the best based on the knowledge that I had at the time. And that's where most people are. You are where you are. And it's okay to be where you are. We don't ever want to make people feel judged. But if you don't know, you don't know. But now you have a chance to know. And knowledge is truly valuable. And that's what we want to share with people is the knowledge of how to live, a healthy, long life. My motto has always been we want to add years to your life, life to your years, while helping you to look good and feel good inside and out. I wasn't feeling that way when I was in my 30s. I was a typical American suffering from allergies. I used to get spring allergies, and then which kind of ended up in hay fever type stuff. Then in the fall, I would get fall allergies that would end up in bronchitis. Then in the dead of the winter, I would get tonsillitis. And that one year in my 30s, I was pastoring the church. My dad got in a car accident and almost died. And I was going back and forth to the hospital. But that winter, Dr. Stacy, I was getting every cold, every flu, every virus. I was sick all the time. And I'd go see my dad. I couldn't even go into the intensive care unit because, I was afraid, I would spread my germs, so to speak, into there. Surely didn't want him to catch anything from me. So I was dealing with sickness on so many levels on myself. I was holding the hands of people who were dying. I was going to the hospitals, the nursing homes. I was visiting the shut-ins. I was visiting the families who had sick members and people. You deal with death a lot, when you're in the ministry. And so I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Jody had been fighting IBS all of her life. Used to have these wicked menstrual cycles every month. And this will really tie into our topic tonight of detoxing, because during that time when we were sick and tired of being sick and tired and dealing with all this stuff, I cried out to God. I said, God, there's got to be something out there to help us to get over all this sickness and disease. I was tired of dealing with it. I want to help people. And again, I looked in the Bible and I felt like God was teaching everybody they could be healthy. fit, viable, prosperous, living a life of love, joy, and peace, and live long and go up on the mountain like Moses and just wave goodbye to everybody. I think that's the ideal way that God wants us to go out of this world. Again, we don't judge, but I always have this saying, I want to die with my boots on, not a diaper. And I don't say that to be offensive. It's just I have had to hold the hands of literally hundreds of people with their diaper while they died. It's not fun. Going out of this world with nasty diseases is not fun for the patient, and it's not fun for the family and everybody that loves them and cares for them. So we wanted to find solutions, and a neighbor of ours gave us a book called Why Christians Get Sick. I read that book. It was Reverend George Malmus, and he had been mentored by some people that saved his life. He had a tumor in his gut, and his mother had just died of colon cancer. So he thought, well, is it my turn? Well, some people came to his rescue, so to speak, started teaching him some things that he could do, lifestyle changes, and he, through health and nutrition and different protocols, overcame his cancer, which involved detox protocols. In order to get well, the body has to be able to detox. So detoxing was a very big part of his recovery. It was a big part of our recovery. And we'll talk more about that. But it was interesting when I began to study his mentors. There was this guy named Dr. Arnold Ehret, lived in the late 1800s, was a medical doctor, and he was curing all kinds of incurables. And he was teaching, fasting and, good nutrition and different things like that. And then people like Dr. Paul Bragg that I studied under, who founded the first health food stores in our nation, was real big in California, had a place out. He was one of these longevity guys before there were longevity people out there. Bragg's crusades. He would go out and teach people, how to not be sick, how to live a long and healthy life. And so that was very interesting to me. And then I ran into Jack LaLanne. Many people know who Jack LaLanne is. I had the privilege of corresponding with him. And lo and behold, he basically got well too because of the same principles that Dr. Ehret, Dr. Bragg taught him. He was a young man. He was sickly. And Jack LaLanne, as if you don't know, it's because you're young. You just didn't get to see him on TV and all the stunts that he pulled. But Dr. Bragg saved his life. And it was basically through nutritional programs and detoxification programs that they taught people, how to eliminate sickness and disease, which led me to Dr. Lorraine Day, who was a chief orthopedic surgeon, first woman in California in the San Francisco hospitals. That was the chief surgeon, oversaw the educational system. She was a breakthrough woman. She broke the glass ceilings in the medical profession. And she got cancer, and so she adopted many of the things that some of these mentors that we know of taught us. And it had a lot to do with detoxification, of course, along with nutritional protocols. Always run side by side together. I felt so honored and privileged to get to know her and have her mentor me. I mean, I miss her because I used to pick up the phone and call her, and it was just a wonderful relationship. Jody used to call her my West Coast girlfriend, and she was a jewel of a person. And so when I began to realize this, Jody and I did something. When we were sick and tired of being sick and tired, we did something as simple as change our lifestyle, go through some detoxifying, do some nutritional, protocols and things. And within 6 weeks, we were pretty much recovering from everything. We went through the whole year, no colds, no flus, no viruses. We didn't have any kind of sickness or disease. Jody's IBS went away. Those terrible menstrual cycles that she used to have went away. I remember we were sitting at a Southern Baptist convention, and I guess it was in the 90s. I forget what state it was. I think we might have been in New Orleans, but for the first time in her life, she was sitting at breakfast and she realized that she was on that monthly cycle and she was feeling absolutely no pain. She wasn't ill. So we were just so excited about it. So we began to go back to school, and get all these certifications, not just to get the certifications, but I was eager for knowledge. And back in my day in the 90s, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these, you know, stuff at access to ourselves that we have today. When we were trying to be healthy, we used to drive 2 hours to a health food store and stock up for the month. We had a co-op we used to run so that we could, get the things we needed to be healthy. It was much a bigger effort than it is today. I can guarantee you that. Information wasn't as widespread as it is now. And now, the things that they thought we were nut jobs about, most people are implementing it. We can go to the grocery store now and find whole food, organic foods where, back in the 90s, that was like a treasure hunt. You just didn't find those organic foods in the grocery store. I thank God every time I walk in a grocery store now, because from perspective used to, none of this stuff was around, and we had to dig for it. So it was pretty exciting back in those days because we started to learn so much, and we were going through so many mentors, Dr. Stacy. I mean, I could just go on and on because I was very fortunate and blessed that I would attract these people into my life, and they liked me and wanted to mentor me. And, that's just the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. Working in my life, I just kept drawing these people into my life, that were teaching me and giving me the answers, because I remember sitting in even after all of that happened, we kind of went through another stage of health healing, and we started studying more about the law of attraction. We started studying people like, not only just Lorraine Day, but some of the religious science people, Ernest Holmes, Louise Hay had a great impact on our life. And we began to, connecting dots, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and all of that. And it was very interesting. One of the last things we had to connect was the spiritual mental connection to everything, which goes along, for those that are on senior director and above and get to go on the book clubs. Dr. Stacy talks a lot about these principles, how these things affect our body, affect our life, and what happens in our life. It has a lot to do with our mental, what we think of mentally. So we not only need to detox physically, Dr. Stacy, we need to detox mentally. And that was one of the last things I learned, because I learned to detox spiritually and physically, but then I had to learn how to get rid of the stinking thinking, as I like to call it, the wrong mindsets, the wrong thinking. And it's all there if you're, for, people who believe the Bible and are Christians, it's all in there. Jesus taught it. If you go through the Bible, you will find these principles, that as a man thinketh, so is he or she. What we think is going to manifest in our life, whether it's good health or bad health. It's just part of the facts. So, I remember sitting in my office that one day, and Jody, I had been in a car accident, couldn't shake off this. 3 years later, I was still having pain issues. Jody was having some issues. We connected all the dots, and within 2 weeks, all the aches and pains, all the things we were suffering from, we connected. We had to detox mentally. We can, if you want to talk about some of that, we can, but I had to get rid of some mental patterns in my life. As soon as I did, I detoxed those things out. Dr. Stacy was just amazing. The pain that I got T-bone, 2 major surgeries on my left shoulder. I mean, after 2 weeks of working on my detoxifying those mental things, boom, pain left my body. The only time it ever comes back is that's how I know if I'm not thinking right, my shoulder starts hurting. And then that's a little red light that goes off and says, all right, what's going on? What are you not, what you got going on in your head that's causing this? So that's very important. So during that time, we learn a lot of different things. I like to say, I tried it all, went through it all. I used to kid, but it was true. I fasted till I looked like a Nazi concentration victim, literally. I, I did all the supplements, all the herbs. I've done colonics. I've done everything that you can possibly do to try to detoxify, cleanse, repair, heal, and restore. And with that wisdom, I think, we can get into it tonight. You know, there are some simple ways to do it and not have to fast yourself to death to get healthy. I mean, the longest I ever went on a water fast was 17 days. My goal was to go 40, but on the 17th day, I knew I had to end it. And we can talk about that because fasting is not something you should do unless it's under the supervision of a practitioner who knows what they're doing, especially when you're water fasting or even juice fasting. You need to have, someone supervising you. There are books, Arnold Ehret's books. You can find them. Dr. Paul Bragg's books. He used to. It was interesting. Let me tell you this story. Dr. Bragg used to fast 40 days every year, and he fasted 10 days every quarter. The guy just didn't eat that much, but he would run marathons. He would run circles around. He'd go to desert, not eat, drink water, and outrun and gun all these athletes. And it was interesting, he had to go through all of this because he was sickly, he was not doing well, and fasting saved his life. And there are smart ways to do it. I wouldn't recommend going down these routes unless you're really being led and supervised to do so. But it was interesting, after all those years of detoxifying, he was on one of his trips, Dr. Stacy, and he was canoeing up a river and he felt the urge to have a bowel movement. So he jumped out of the canoe on the side, went into the bushes, and he literally lost a glob of mercury out of his body that had been in there for 20 or 30 years. But through fasting and all these different, because back in those days, they used to treat people with mercury, which was a poison. It can kill you. It's not a good thing to treat people with. And, but he prayed and fasted out because toxins hide everywhere in the body. When we're going along in life, whether it's toxins from what we eat, drink, medicines are full of toxins. We live in a world, and even in his day, even though he didn't have to deal with a lot of what we're dealing with, he had that mercury in his body, and just boom, after, doing some nutritional protocols, fasting, detoxifying the body. And he said it was like he'd always felt good, but then it was like it was a whole another level of euphoric feeling and lightness that was really, he experienced and all that. So, fasting is one way we can detox. I tell people today, if you feel led to do water fasting, the best way to do that is start out one day a week. I tell people if you want to water fast one day a week, that's a great way to start. Give your body one day to detoxify and rest. Drink some water. I always tell people get a gallon jug, put a tablespoon or two of raw apple cider vinegar in it, and have at it. I used to like to do that on Sunday and I used to always, I was preaching and teaching. Sunday was a pretty busy day for me. So I would eat lunch and then I wouldn't eat again until the next day at lunch. And that was so easy, because, you just had to make it through the night. You get up in the morning, you could drink some water, and then at noon, I could break the fast. That really worked, well for me. But I feel like intermittent fasting is the best route to go. When we were with Hallelujah Acres, it was really ingenious what George did. He basically had people eat raw all day and then eat a decent meal at night. And that would naturally detoxify the body because the body was resting and detoxifying. But the body has cycles. I don't know how much we want to get into all that stuff, Dr. Stacy, but there's so many ways to detox. And fasting and intermittent fasting is probably one of the best ways to do it, but intermittent fasting is really the best. Eating just within an 8-hour window every day will do more for your health because you're including fasting along with good nutrition, drinking water, and everything else. So intermittent fasting is probably the best way to do it, the easiest way to do it, the easiest way to ease into it. But sometimes, the body calls for, sometimes if somebody's real sick, I tell them, I say, it's time to quit eating. It's time to start drinking water, maybe doing some, beverages, soft, heated beverages, something light, something easy, white. And the reason for that, when your body's sick, you need to shut down the detoxification, not the detoxification organs, but the digestive organs that are part of the elimination system. Letting the liver rest, letting the bowels rest, letting your urinary, bladder, kidneys, and everything rest, flush, and clean while the body can regroup and re-energize as far as that goes. And of course, as you know, Dr. Stacy, there's detox programs that you can find out the wazoo. Everybody's got one, when it's like, I know you shared a lot before. These can be geared towards organ detoxification. Some can be for parasite detoxification. We live in a world where parasites are real and they are around us. They are not just in meats, but they are being found in vegetable supplies, particularly in the commercial end of this. A lot of things are being found there that shouldn't be. So we have to be careful with all of that. Alkalizing diet, it's nothing wrong with an alkalizing diet. I mean, that's basically just eating a healthy, clean diet, getting away from toxic foods. That's really all it is getting your lifestyle straightened out and eating correctly as far as that goes. And of course, exercise. I mean, most people will tell you if you don't do but 3 or 4 days a week, you're doing probably just enough to help you. And then if you're just a couch potato, iPhone potato that stares at your phone all day and don't exercise or don't get out, then walking is probably one of the simplest, healthiest exercise anybody can do. Get outside, get fresh air, sunshine, walk. Increase your walking, put weights on your ankles, take hand weights on your thing. Walking is the simplest, easiest. As you mentioned earlier, I know you do a little bit of rebounding. Rebounding. I've been rebounding for 30 plus years.
Ooh.
I do it as hardly, and probably in 30 years, I probably have only missed 30 days of rebounding, only when I can't carry it with me or, travel times. But I'm addicted to it. I love it. What I loved about it when I read the science, 10 minutes on a rebound, just jogging equals an hour of jogging outside. You have a compounded result. Rebounding detoxifies the cells. I call it the unit I recommend. You can find it on my website. Is a friend of mine, David Hall, and he designed the best rebounder on the market. I've used every one of them. That costs from $50 to $1,000. His is in the middle. But it's safe, it's natural. I could get into all the technology for it. I used to wear a rebounder out, Stacy, every 6 months to a year. I'd have to go buy another one. His will last me on average 5 years. So it's well worth the investment for me because I was buying, fairly good rebounders, but I'd rip them and break them in about a year because I'm on them just about every day of my life. But what I love about rebound, you exercise your body from the inside out. The cells are bouncing, which encourages them to detoxify, eliminate toxins out of the cell, and then invite the new nutrition can now come in. That's why it's so important to detoxify. Your body needs to be eliminating in order for it to be able to assimilate. Because if you're eating and not assimilating because you're full of toxins and you're full of junk, then you become auto-intoxicated, which I think leads to autoimmune diseases. You get that leaky gut syndrome. You're just leaking toxins back into your body because your colon is clogged, your kidneys clogged, your liver's not functioning the way that it should. And you got to get those organs detoxified because I firmly believe most sickness and disease begins in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not eliminating a couple of times a day, ideally our systems are designed, you eat and you get the urge to poop. Watch a baby, they eat and they poop. That's the way our bodies are designed. And if you're only going once a week, you're on the road to disaster. And I know people that only go. When I was a teenager, I went once or twice a week, and that's why I was sick so much. Well, I had allergies so much. I was auto intoxicated, and then that auto intoxication ends up back in your bloodstream. And that's not a good thing, for your body to have bacteria and germs and all that trash going in. Sickness and disease hides in the body. When it can't detoxify, then it tucks its way. It's in the fat cells is where a lot of it goes, but it will hide itself in the body. It's amazing. Like Dr. Bragg, who knows where that mercury was in his body? Maybe it was in his colon in a pocket somewhere, but the body had tried to isolate it to protect itself. That's kind of the way those things work. So detoxification is so important, Dr. Stacy, because if you're not eliminating, then where's all that food going? Where's it backing up at? I mean, if you're eating 2 or 3 meals a day and you're only going once or twice a week, you've got tons and tons of garbage in your body, and it's rotting, it's putrefying, and it's attracting the wrong bacteria in your gut, which is why so many people are sick. You're attracting the bad bugs, not the good bugs. When you eat healthy foods, you attract the good bacteria, and that eliminates the junk stuff, which is why it's so important to have the healthy bowel, eliminating and filled with the good, healthy bacteria, or your immune system is going to go to hell real quick, and you're going to be suffering from sickness and disease. Most people would have allergies. All you got to do is detoxify, cleanse. I'm not saying it will cure, it fixes everybody, but it fixes the majority. Dr. Christopher, School of Natural Healing, where I got my herbalist training and all of that, he basically, he was the only naturopathic doctor in the United States that the United States Army used to cure the incurables. And he just used herbs and spices and detoxification programs to cure them. He'd just bring them in and start cleaning them out. Cleaning out the organs of the body, cleaning out, the bowel, getting them to drink water, taking them through some simple juice fasting and liver gallbladder cleanses. Next thing you know, they're fine. So most allergies are, if you can get people to cleanse out, it's amazing. I won't tell you everything he did because people aren't already. It's hard for people to believe and comprehend everything, Dr. Stacy. But there's just so many things that we can do simply, drinking our water every day. Are we keeping that? I was talking to somebody this weekend in Tennessee, talking about they just didn't have time to drink water. I said, well, I had the same problem, but what I do now, Jody and I, we just put water bottles everywhere. They're at my office desk here. We're just, I told you we're just opening up an office there. I put my office water there, my bottles there. They're in my truck. They're in Jody's car. They're in the bathroom. If we get up in the middle of the night, here we go. We're going to be drinking water.
I love it. I do the same thing. Start early in the morning drinking water and drink all day long. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed. Just sip throughout the day, all day, all day, all day. So many amazing tips and techniques. And I know the questions in the chat, I'm trying to, answer as many as we can. I know, Dr. Shan, you mentioned that if you don't detox, then what happens is the body absorbs again, right? It just absorbs these toxins. If they're not being eliminated, the body goes through that cycle of absorbing them again. And I know everybody's super excited to hear how Lifewave's technology can help you when you look at your lymphatic system, of course, and using your rebounder, but the patches that'll support that lymphatic system and support those detoxification pathways at the cellular level.
Well, that's what I love about Lifewave. I tell people if you'll I just keep the water thing simple. If you want to do the weight and divide, that's wonderful. I just tell about drink an extra 8 to 10 glasses of water a day while you're doing this technology. And the patches will assist the body. Of course, our flagship product, X39, everybody should be wearing. Why? Well, it's the patch that's going to repair, heal, and rejuvenate. It's going to go in and get those master cells, those pluripotent cells going into the body, repairing the places that are full of sickness and disease, which is why they're sick and diseased. Whenever an organ is sick and diseased, it's auto-intoxicated, it's full of inflammation, which sets up induration, and on we go till we get to cancer or some other dreadful disease. So when you get your master cells activated, they're going to go in and start the repairing, the healing, and the rejuvenation, which these patches we'll talk about they all will assist with the body to take out the junk. It's going to help the body get rid of those toxins, because now you're boosting your immune system naturally with the X39. And of course, the GHK copper peptide, it's a tripeptide. I mean, when you study this peptide, it's just amazing. When you just go online and Google GHK copper peptide. And we know that that's being elevated in our system. Of course, Eon is for stress, inflammation. It's kind of, I could get into all the stuff, but it helps to raise SODs, your antioxidant levels in the body, and get the inflammation out of the body. Inflammation, as we alluded to, is the root cause of every sickness and disease. And of course, X39 will help get rid of inflammation, but when we pair it up with Eon, we call that the dynamic duo, don't we? And now you're getting your body to repair, restore, rejuvenate, and start taking out the junk. The patch will get that inflammation out of the body, which is the first stage of every sickness and disease. It's an indication that you are toxic. And the body's having a hard time eliminating, so it's inflaming. And there's other things that can affect that. But I love this oxide because it fights free radical damage. And when we think of free radical damage, most people think of what, Dr. Stacy? Cancer. Free radicals. What is cancer? A free radical that's broken off from the body, has created its own little system, and is beginning to try to take over your body. And this patch will assist you to basically increase those SOD levels, superoxidant levels in your body, which is why we need glutathione, the super antioxidant. It is considered the most powerful antioxidant in the body. It's a tripeptide, helps with oxidative stress, decreases oxidative stress, increases the breaking down of free radicals. It raises your oxidative levels up. And everything that I've seen, Dr. Stacy, is it also is kind of considered the general of all the other antioxidants. It's almost like when glutathione gets going in the body, it tells all the other antioxidants in the body, come on, let's get to work. Let's start doing the job that we were told we're here for. It kind of just activates the immune system. This is another patch that I call it the Pac-Man patch, because it goes in and eats up the garbage. It just goes in and eats those free radicals up. And we know with our clinical studies, it raises it 300 to 400% in 24 hours. I hear a lot of people say 300, and that's average. But when you read clinical studies, some people got as much as 400%, which is really exciting, because the longest living people on earth, one thing they have in common is they have high glutathione levels. So let's get our glutathione levels elevated. And it regenerates vitamin C, vitamin E, which also is one of those antioxidants that the body needs to eat up all that oxidative stress in your body. A patch that I love, it's really one of my favorite, Dr. Stacy, is Energy Enhancer. Mm-hmm. Energy Enhancer, to me, is a powerful patch. I know everybody talks about, to give you energy and all that, but it's good, but it increases mitochondrial function. Now, go do your homework. Google mitochondrial function, ATP function in the body. Your cells need recharging. Your cells need energy. And when you lose your energy, you lose your ability to fight disease. When your cells are tired and wore out and they're, and just barely getting by, then when invaders come in and you start getting sick and you're starting to get run down, one way to pump your energy levels up on the cellular level is through Energy Enhancer. I wear it pretty much every day now. I just love it. You don't have to wear it every day. It's 1 month supply, but we buy plenty of it so I can wear it anytime and every time that I want to. But every living organism consists of cells that rely on the ATP mitochondrial energy. And when those are not elevated and operating and energetic, you're going to be more prone to sickness and disease. In the last patch that I recommend to people too, they think I'm crazy. And I said, well, if you're feeling a little sick, carnosine is a great patch for that. I know we have a lot of studies about that, but Google carnosine. Just Google carnosine. We're not talking about the patches right now. But carnosine, if you Google this is what you can find on the internet and WebMD and other medical resources. Carnosine is a natural antioxidant made up of 2 amino acids, and one of its important functions is acting as a free radical scavenger. In addition to its impressive antioxidant properties, it is also to serve as a physiological buffer that plays a key role in proper enzyme and calcium regulation in the body. So we know it has some other benefits, but just think, most people don't think of carnosine as a powerful antioxidant, but that is exactly what it is according to medicine, according to science. So what if you could put some patches on your body every day that are going to activate and stimulate antioxidant power in your body? And you're increasing the energy of your cells and the ability for your cells to repair, rejuvenate, heal, and restore. Good golly molly, we've got, something here that's totally amazing beyond comprehension when you realize that we are boosting these levels naturally. This is a non-transdermal, non-invasive technology. We're not putting anything into the body. We're not curing anything with a patch. The patch can't cure, the measles. But it's amazing when we give our body a little bit of assistance, giving it proper nutrition, detoxifying, cleansing the body, giving it good nutrition that can be assimilated and eliminated. We're drinking our water. Then the next thing you know, we're putting these patches on, and man, we're boosting our ability for our bodies to not only heal itself, but let's get over healing and get into maximizing our systems, which is why these patches can be used then for maintenance rather than for repair and heal assistance. And then we can start truly reverse aging and living longer and healthier.
Wow. That's very comprehensive, Dr. Stan. Very comprehensive. And
that's the cliff notes. I'm trying to keep it
that's
short.
the cliff notes. Okay, well, we have 15 minutes, so they have some questions in the chat. First of all, I threw in there the link to the rebounder I use, which is not gonna probably last 20 or 30 or years or more. I don't know. It works perfectly fine for me, but I also just jump about 2 to 3 minutes a day on mine. They want to know what is the name again of the rebounder you use, and how long are you jumping on that thing daily? And then also, what are your thoughts on a vibration plate? And tell them again, what is the point of the rebounder? Because some of them they missed that part because they've never heard of a rebounder before. They had no clue what it was.
Okay, the rebounder I use is called the cellulizer. If you go to my website, in the middle, it has a link to the rebounder. This rebounder, the reason why I use it is it's durable, it's long lasting, it's soft on the joints. The spring technology is a patented spring technology. And like I said, I've used every kind on the market. I wear them out fairly quick because I use them every day. And I'm on and off of mine for about 30 minutes every day. Now, you got to understand what I do. I incorporate everything in with my exercises. 30 minutes. I start out rebounding, and then I do some stretching, stretching exercises on the floor. I usually do the Bowflex, the resistant bands. Then I'm back on the rebounder, and I'm rebounding some more. And then after I rebound for a little bit, I get back and I do some weightlifting, just light weight lifting, and I get through all that, and then I get back on the rebounder again, and I end my workout on a rebounder, and I use hand weights when I do it the last time. Because I'm advanced, I put weights on my ankles. You can't do that when you first start. But I have I have two 10-pound ankle weights on each leg. Most people don't, it take you a long time to build up to that, but I've been doing it 30 years. So, and on the rebounder, I can do jumping jacks. I mimic every exercise in the body. I can, I'll just bounce and do chest, do my jumping jacks. I'll do my shoulders, just bouncing like this. I can do the inside, all the things you do. I'm just sitting there bouncing, doing it, biceps. Then I get down on my butt and put my legs up in the air. Of course, I use hand weights. That's advanced. But you just get on there and you bounce on your butt, and it will really build your abs and build your core. So I'm kind of on and off getting cardio, bouncing, stretching, weightlifting, and of course the resistance bands. I learned that from Tom Brady. If you want to keep your muscles pliable and working, those bands will keep them more pliable than weightlifting. Much healthier. I think Tom Brady proved that. I don't think you have to argue over that. But again, when you're bouncing, every cell in your body is exercising. It's bouncing. When you're just lifting weights, you're just working the area that you're working on. With this, every cell in the body's jumping up and down, dancing, having a great time, exercising, eliminating, and you're moving your lymph system. Your lymph system only works on movement. So when you're rebounding, your lymphatic system, which is one of the largest part of your detoxification and nutrient delivery system, if that starts to get clogged up, what do you hear about? Cancer in the lymph nodes, cancer in the breast, and then you find out they're all in the lymph glands and nodes because there's where the toxins have been building up. And as we said earlier, the toxicity builds up, then inflammation, induration, on and on we go till we get to cancer or some other dreadful disease in our body. That's why I rebound. I don't miss it. I do it every day. Combination, if I'm in a hurry, don't have time, busy, whatever, stayed up late, slept late, I try to get at least 10 minutes of bouncing in. I have you can't see it, I guess I could turn my phone around. I have a vibrational plate machine. It's part of my workout. That's the first thing I do 10 minutes on that. Vibrational plate machine, you want to make sure it's an oscillator, not just a bouncer. There's all kinds of them out there. I can help you with that if you need it. But when you're looking for a vibrational plate machine, look for triflex or oscillating. Those two words are the most important. When you stand up, same thing, the vibration is going all the way through your body. Every cell in your body is starting to vibrate, shake. I've used it in my practice and gotten amazing results from it. Just about every kind of people have problems losing weight in their hips were losing weight in their hips. People recovering from injuries. You have to be careful with it. You can sit on it. You can do push-ups on it. There's so many things you can do on that. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. I'd do that first. I do 10 minutes of that and then 30 minutes of rebounding and working out.
I love that. And they do make rebounders. Does yours have a handle on it that you can hold on to?
No, I don't need it. But for beginners or people having a hard time with balance,
Yeah.
like my buddy David, you can get the bar if you want it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They're available on most. Just don't go out and buy a cheap $50 or $60 rebounder. They will rip. They will hurt you. They're stiff. The springs are terrible. They're junk. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Unless you're just going to do 2 or 3 minutes a day like me.
But
I got it totally.
There, but if somebody wants to send me what they're using, I'll give you my opinion.
Perfect. So going back to lymphatic system, because obviously rebounding is powerful. Any kind of exercise and movement is going to turn over your lymphatic system versus being like you said, a phone potato, right? So
Exactly.
Let's talk about that water. You just took another sip of water. So we're turning over our lymphatic system. We're using our energy enhancer. We're doing our rebounder. Obviously, you've got your X39 on board, Eon, glutathione, carnosine. So the way to get these toxins out of your body, because we're not going to go back to the visual of the canoe on the river there, because that was interesting. We'll skip right past that
We'll
visual.
skip that. That was just it. Just
Picture Deliverance. That's what I was picturing was the movie Deliverance. I'm like, this is going really wrong really fast. So let's talk a little bit more about the importance of water with patching. Because, yes, water fast. I love how you mentioned that the detoxing, and obviously through your medical practitioners, or your practitioner's advice for you, because fasting is not for every single person depending on your medical condition. So don't just go do that, right? But water on a daily basis is critical to your health and your longevity in every aspect of your life. So, why is it so important when you're patching, especially when we're talking about removing these toxins through our lymphatic system?
Yeah, I like what my friend Dr. Don says: drink what you're mostly made of, water. So many people today drink everything but water and don't want to drink water. Uh, let's just face it, water is what we're mostly made of.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at every organ and system of the body, depending on which one you're looking at, it is well over 50% water. Some are what 80 or 90%. Depends on, like, the brain is mostly water. If you don't want your brain to shrink up and go away, don't drink water and it'll start shrinking up. I use water as the analogy of a desert. If the body ain't getting water, it's going to turn into a desert land, and it's going to start to deteriorate, and you're going to turn back to dust real fast, and I mean the grave dust, because you need water. So water lubricates the body. Water makes everything work. Water is the key to your most second most important nutrient you put in your body every day. Oxygen being number one, uh, water number two. And you need to feed the body and the cells water. They're starving for it. Most people are dehydrated today. They're starved for water and hydration, and then they start to get sick. When you're using the patching technology, you are starting, as we've discussed with these patches, you're starting the healing and restoration process. And the body needs to have the water to activate all of this correctly, number one, because the organs and systems are depending on it. But then you've got to be able to give the body the assistance to eliminate. Water is what goes through the body. It passes through the liver. It's going to go through your kidneys. It's going to go, even into the bowel. And it's all part of the elimination process of the body. Like the lower bowel. The lower bowel depends on large, copious amounts of water. That's why first thing in the morning, I drink 2 glasses of water every morning, Dr. Stacy, before I do anything. And yes, I'll have some pH drops or some, sea salt or something, that I can add to it, or I'll put a pinch of sea salt in my mouth and drink my water. That's one way that's the cheapest way, I think, to get your electrolytes is get you some good sea salts. Particularly, I like the darker ones, which are also good for your heart, but that's another story. But water is going to help you to eliminate, and you're not going to heal. What we've been talking about, Dr. Stacy, you're not going to heal unless you're detoxifying. And if you don't have water in your system, you're not going to detoxify because you're all dried up. Your body's a desert, and you're just working yourself behind the 8 ball.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And we find people just, don't like to drink water. They don't like the flavor or lack thereof, or they're so used to the sugary types of things that, drinking something plain and clean and pure tastes really bad. So, you can always use lemons, limes. You can use watermelon, cucumber, pineapple, strawberries, oranges. Just picture going into this hotel and they've got this gorgeous, huge water pitcher there that you can just come up and turn the spout. They always have fruit soaking in that, mint, things like that. So it's a really nice, pleasant flavor, light flavor for people. You can do that at home. You can do the exact same thing and have yourself that gallon jug and, just sip on some strawberry water all day or some watermelon water or some mint water. I love limes. Limes are my favorite, right? They're alkalizing and they're just so good for your body in so many different ways, but you got to get that water. And especially
Yep.
when you're patching, when you're patching, we're trying to, with the patch, activate peptides. We're trying to change, like you mentioned, the mitochondria. We are trying to impact the cells of your body. And you have trillions of cells. And I want you to picture this. When you're young, your cells look like grapes. When you age, your cells look like raisins. So
That's a good
those
point.
cells shrink as you age. The light around the cell shrinks as you age. It's part of aging. Your cells become dehydrated. And so when you want to expand the light around your cells, which is what energy enhancer does, you want to expand those cells, right? You want to increase that water, but you also want to make sure you're pulling the water into the cells and tissues to do that. And we love to use Celtic sea salt. Celtic sea salt, put a crystal on your tongue. If you ever have heard of any type of homeopathic remedy, homeopathic remedies aren't something you just swallow down. You want to put them on your tongue or under your tongue to let things really absorb and to be able to pull. When you do that with Celtic sea salt, you're pulling the water into the cells and tissues. So you're really hydrating at the cellular level, which is another reason, Dr. Stan, you've been patching now over 2 years, right? 2.5 years. Is that correct? Or are we going on three?
Well, we just went over three. We
Oh my gosh.
we
All
hit the
right.
three mark at the end of December, so
Whew.
we're entering into third year here.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, Laura and I are knocking on four's door. So when you've been patching for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years or more, right? The company is 20 years old. David's been inventing these patches for 20 years. You see people turn back their clock. You see things change on the outside. Their skin changes because the inside is changing. When you do what you said, Dr. Stan, we're using not only the X39, but using the Eon to bring down the inflammation. And I know you touched briefly on those mind toxins. Eon helps to reduce, not only inflammation, but bring that nervous system into balance. So it helps with the mind toxins, the anxiety, the stress, the worry, the fear, the things that go on and ruminate inside of your mind. And those mind toxins cause just as much toxicity at the cellular level as the food that we take in or the personal care products that we're using or cleaning products that we're using that are going right in through our skin, which can be so detrimental today to people, which is why we see so many problems with people. So, Dr. Sam, we've got 1 minute left. Any last words of wisdom for everyone out here that's listening for the first time?
Well, when it comes to detoxification, our subject, if you do something, if you can't do anything but walk, walk. If you can't afford a rebounder, can't get this, can't get, you don't have to go to the gym to be fit. If you can't do anything, but I've had clients, I just had them walk around the living room until they could walk to the mailbox and back until they could eventually walk around the block. Walking is a simple exercise. The best exercise is always the exercise you'll do. So if you like to swim, go swim. If you like hockey, go play hockey, basketball. Just do something that you can do because you get to exercise. You don't have to. Then it would be, as you said, drinking water. One of the most important things anybody can do is eliminate refined carbohydrates, processed foods, and start drinking more water. And we won't get into all the water discussions. We're getting ready to have a wonderful water technology coming out this year that's going to be totally amazing. I can't wait because I'm going to quit taking so many supplements that I have been taking. I told you, Dr. Stacy, it was so funny. I quit taking my copper supplement and my hair on the side started getting gray again. And I kept going, well, I guess, I'm just starting to cellular age, but I started taking my copper again, and guess what? My hair started getting darker. Our new supplement's going to have copper in it, so it's just so wonderful. I just think it. So
Can't wait.
if you can't do something, just simply walk, drink some extra water, and start eliminating junk foods out of your diet and patch away.
Patch away, patch away. Thank you so much, Dr. Stan, for all of your 40 plus years of wisdom and experience and knowledge and everything you shared with everybody this evening. I appreciate you and I look forward to having you on a Zoom again soon.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.